Shawn had about a every 3-month cycle. He would stay sober for about 3 months, and then there would be a relapse where he would disappear for 4 or 5 days. I was completely ignorant about recovery and about addiction and what that really looked like. And so, of course, I would make suggestions like, maybe you should go to a meeting, or maybe you should get a sponsor. Or, he had moved from Houston and left his sponsor behind and left his home group behind. And so we had those conversations, and he never felt like he needed that. Eventually, it got to the point where money ran out, and too many things were adding up to not making sense. And so I began to question things, and it was actually to the point where I knew in my heart, just seeing him in that state, that it was treatment that day or I may lose him. His sponsor had told me, if you want Shawn to go to a good place where he's actually going to get help and he's going to do the work and it's going to be done the right way, and he's going to be a different guy when he gets home, you want to send him to Brazos. And so at that point, didn't really know if that's something that I could believe or not. But throughout the process, I would speak with his counselor at Brazos, and he would tell me, his perspective on how he felt Shawn was, how open Shawn was, how willing he was to do the work. So I would get some positive feedback that way. He decided that he was going to be at Brazos for 60 days, and I want to say maybe 3 weeks had gone by, and he decided he was out, and he was coming home. And I know that was done because he knew that I was struggling, and he was feeling like he needed to rush back and get back to me to help out. But I think that it was really awesome how the people at Brazos, the counselors, the people that were there, those guys are awesome. They just were like, no, this is what you need to do. If you don't take care of this, then you're never going to be able to actually get back home and take care of them the way that they really need you to for the long term. But I think the one thing that from that point on that I felt confident in is I saw him working the program. While he was in, I had to sell his truck or take it back to the dealership. The payment was too high. And so he didn't have a vehicle when he got out and didn't have the means to go buy a new vehicle. Some people at our church had an old truck sitting around, and they're like, hey, he can use this as long as he needs to. I think the thing was barely running. I don't think it had AC. Not what this guy pre-recovery would want to drive. But when I told him, hey, our friends have told us that you can drive this truck as long as you want, he was so grateful. And he was in a sober living home in Austin, and we lived about an hour away. So he would come to the house a couple times a week, a few times a week to come see me. And I was on the front porch waiting for him to pull up, and he pulled up in that truck. And he had a bandana wrapped around his head. And he gets out of the truck, and he's just smiling. And I thought, wow, like what a difference, like the humility and just the gratitude of the little things in life. Was totally different. I'm really grateful for Brazos, and it changed Shawn's life. That changed our family's life. The work he did there, the truths that he brought out of that place, it's a way of life for him every day. And so now, I look around, like, our life is completely different. And we would not have what we have today. We would not be surrounded by all the blessings that we have today if Shawn hadn't stayed sober. So.